Hello and welcome to this session where I'll take us through the various ways that we can work with the Modern Scholarship Organization. The long-term goal of this NPO is to work on societal problems, issues like access to good education, access to water, food security, emissions reduction, and sustainability. We're especially looking to deepen our ties to organizations like the United Nations to increase our impact. To get there, looking at our short and medium-term goals, we have developed a broad suite of software solutions which are already addressing some of these societal problems. The software does have commercial benefits, and we are in the process of developing the business instruments that will help us sustain and deepen our efforts. Personally, I do believe that high-quality work comes from the commercial world. There are, of course, exceptions from the philanthropic world, but on average, I believe you need good commercial instruments to create long-lasting solutions. We also work with many young people developing their solutions and helping them convert ideas and energy into sustainable operation. And we'll see some examples of that. Generally speaking, the large industry entities are looking for affiliation with public good organizations, and Modern Scholarship aims to assist with tech development while also making it easier to expose the goodwill of companies granting access to sustainable solutions. Here are some examples of our tech assets. In the AutoScholar Advisor system, we use artificial intelligence toward automated advising of academic staff and students to achieve better graduation rates based on deeper learning. The AutoScholar is partitioned into 6 components, at least one for each of the various role players, from students to lecturers to academic program designers to deans and vice chancellors. On the commercial side, we are supported by license income from various universities. In GeoStage, we work on geosensitive problems, including access to water, emissions control, optimization in agriculture, food security, and disaster relief. There are currently 5 main components in this system where we are connecting geographic information systems, or GIS, and artificial intelligence. This work is supported by the Technology Innovation Agency, the Water Research Commission, and Amgeni Water. The Chemicals Without Borders project is based on industrial symbiosis, where the byproducts and even waste materials from one industry serve as the raw materials to the next industry. This helps reduce virgin material consumption and promotes the conversion of environmentally hazardous materials to safer forms that are still useful in the economy. Some components here are for automated matching between industry partners, so it's a bit like speed dating for the chemicals industry. Some components help industry partners manage the disclosure of which chemicals they're putting out there. It's often the case that the chemicals that have the greatest benefit from industrial symbiosis are the hardest ones to disclose, and we have disclosure management systems that helps the industry connect with the right partners. This work is supported by Sasol and the Durban Chemicals Cluster. In our research gateway, we grant access to our data science methods, our AI model builders and analysis methods, and our cloud hosting infrastructure. So you can use the gateway to create your own components or systems towards your own solutions. Our seminars and workshops run on cycles. The Education or AutoScholar seminar runs once a month, and GeoStage runs once in 6 weeks. In the case of AutoScholar, the session is partitioned into a concept development part and a training part. In concept development, we commiserate about the problems in higher ed, and we look at EdTech solutions. During the training part, we also look at the existing products, and we receive feedback to improve their quality, their ease of use, and the types of things you can apply them to do. The GeoStage platform runs in a similar way for the geosensitive problem projects. We encourage strong criticism, and we take care to invite conflicting opinions. In addition to academia, these seminars are presented by government representatives, industry leaders, and the like, who also criticize the practicality of the solutions proposed. This general model shows the flow of resources among the role players in a typical project. They, of course, include the Modern Scholarship NPO. There may also be a public funder or government body. There's, of course, a body of users of the products, and there's a commercial entity. And this entity may be a co-developer working with Modern Scholarship, or it may be a reseller of existing products, or it may be a third-party creator. And we'll talk more about those models just now. For now, let's just look at the flow of resources, where by resources, we don't just mean funding, but also intellectual property. It's also about training and even concepts and feedback and ideas. So in the green, we can see that Modern Scholarship is contributing the licenses and rights to the commercial entity to connect with its users. So the commercial entity can either resell the product or is in partnership with Modern Scholarship on that. The blue line is showing that Modern Scholarship also supports the training and the coursework development, and through that, it interacts with the users. And Modern Scholarship also hosts currently grant writers who apply for funding on behalf of those users or individuals or institutions who want to access services from the commercial partner that they can't currently afford. So Modern Scholarship writes the grants applications, and then the funding coming in is given to these users or institutions to access the services. It's important to note that none of that funding is retained or returned to Modern Scholarship. On the other hand, there are also users who can pay for the licenses, and they do so. So that's a straightforward commercial purchase of services. And then from that pool of income, Modern Scholarship, in negotiation with the commercial partner, will receive income for its philanthropic purposes. The remaining transfer line is this one, and this we've mentioned earlier. So this is the flow of ideas and feedback. So through this interaction with the users of the systems, we get excellent feedback, and that's really driven the high quality of our product offerings. In summary, this structure is supporting that Modern Scholarship can focus on concept development and this kind of academic approach, while still giving us a high quality suite of products and still supporting the philanthropy that we want to develop. And of course, the commercial entity gains access to these high quality products and two streams of revenue. This shows the general interaction among the role players. So let's now look at the more specific modes of collaboration. So in this first model, the commercial entity, let's call it X, has a significant concept and IP that it's bringing, and possibly even development. They may bring direct investments, they may have personnel and infrastructure. And in such a case, we adopt a co-developer model, and that's where the IP and the equity and revenue is shared between X and Modern Scholarship. The company X handles the client-facing operations like user support, licensing, and distribution, while Modern Scholarship handles the user training and documentation. It grants companies X and Y exposure at its seminars, workshops, and presentations, and the other media. It also applies for grant funding for the users who can't currently afford the services, and so on. In the second model, the company X does not bring any IP or products, but it wants to be in the role of a reseller. And so this company X then provides the user support, and it handles the user licenses and distribution. Modern Scholarship continues to provide the user training and documentation. And of course, it grants exposure of X at the seminars and workshops and publications. In this third model, the company X uses the Modern Scholarship platform builders. So like we mentioned earlier, the research gateway that you can use to create new modules for existing platforms like the AutoScholar or GeoScan or Chemicals Without Borders. In this case, the IP is partially owned by Modern Scholarship, but mainly owned by the third-party developer X, and that third party is also the main revenue recipient. In this case, the company X may also collaborate with other companies in those systems for managing its user support and subscriptions and so on. So this third model is intended more for smaller companies or even individual creators who have good ideas but don't want the hassle of running a whole business. With that, I hope you see this presentation as an invitation to participate, whether it's to bring ideas through our seminars, perhaps help relieve us of the commercial work by running your own company, or to use our methods to create something. Please feel free to reach out and discuss further. Thanks for listening.